Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to talk to you today about how we provide employee services at Slack. I have started at Slack 2.5 years ago, and I want to talk to you about how we started and some of the changes we made to improve how we provide employee services, and then where we're thinking about moving this in the future as we continue to expand what we've built. So at the end of this session, my goal is for you to feel comfortable and confident using Halp to connect Slack with Jira Service Management. First, a bit about me. I'm Josh Senek. I'm the Senior Manager of Business Technology Operations at Slack. Been with Slack almost 3 years. When I first started here, there were a couple challenges right out of the gate. I came from an MSP and we were used to providing email-based support and portals and all that fun stuff. But at Slack, there's a couple guiding principles that I had to take in mind as I redesigned our support operations. The first is Slack doesn't use email internally at all. If I emailed a coworker and expected them to respond to that message, they'd think I had lost it. So there's no expectation that any employee should ever need to email anyone for employee services, or that they should even have to read their email for anything internal. Secondly, we don't use portals. So any portal-based support, like the Jira Service Management portal, that's off limits. There's an expectation that all services are provided on the platform itself, because Slack is where work happens. So here's how things were set up when I first started. The first thing were channel conventions. These are the ways we work on the platform. So the first up was the channel naming conventions. You can see there on the left that all of our help channels start with the help prefix. That's really important for people to be able to find the places to ask the questions they need to ask. So when an employee needs to ask a question, all they have to do is go to the channel picker and type in help, and they get the full list of all the help channels that are available to them. On the second level down is, how do I know when I am a support person where I can escalate? That's what the triage channels are for. So on the right, there's an example of some of our triage channels. If I'm a tier 1 engineer and I get an issue that I need to escalate to a triage team, like perhaps the identity team running Okta, all I have to do is again, the channel picker, type in triage, and I get a full list of all the triage channels available to escalate an issue to. Digging one level deeper, we have conventions around how we use the channels themselves. So you can see here a couple of things that are a little different than a normal Slack channel usage. The first is each message is opened with a colored circle, white for low urgency, blue for middle urgency, or red for high urgency. We don't use stoplight colors, that red, yellow, green you might have expected, because we find that for color blindness and accessibility, the white, blue, and red are more accessible colors for that population. The use of these circles is encouraged in every single one of our help channels, with the goal being as someone asks a question or raises an issue, they can tell us quickly and concisely with something visual how urgent it is for us to solve it. That helps us prioritize work as it comes in. And as a manager, I'm always looking at the notifications from my channels. If I see a red circle, I tend to take a peek to see how urgent is this issue. Is there something I need to know about? The second convention I want to call out is the use of reactions to messages. So you can see there below the first message, there's a little eye emoji. Our agents put the eyes on a message to show that they're actively working on it. And then on the right, there's the check mark. They put the check mark on the thread to show that they've actually completed the action. So again, as a manager, I can browse through this help channel and get a really clear signal of how many of the issues are being taken care of. And lastly is threading. You can see this channel looks really nice and neat. That's because we've trained all of our employees by convention to put a single message for anything they need. And if there's any details or any conversation that has to happen, all they have to do is respond in thread, and our agents will respond in thread. This keeps the channel nice and clean. One top-level message for one issue. We also are heavy users of shortcuts. You might have also called these slash commands, depending on how old of a Slack user you are. These shortcuts bring up forms to help our folks to enter tickets. So here you can see our help desk form, and this is actually one of the help forms we currently use. But when I joined, we also had a help desk command that connected to Jira. These allow users to put their issues in private. Some people might not want to go to a public help channel, put their issues in. So this slash command is useful for those folks to know all I need to do is type in help desk and I can get the support I need and the ticket will be filed. And lastly, Slack is a bot culture. We encourage all of our folks to react and use bots for many different tasks in the office. So down in front, you're probably already familiar with Slackbot. Behind them, you might not be aware of Ruth Bader Ginsbot. She tells our employees when they need to fill out important legal disclaimers now that we've gone public. On the right there is AskBot. That's the bot that you might interact with if you're asking IT questions, and that bot will just hop in and try and answer them for you. Even with all of these conventions, there are still some challenges. The first is the problem of load balancing. Just like many offices, people love to shoulder tap IT employees, and that can happen in Slack in their DMs completely out of the manager's view. Then there's an extra hassle for the support agent to have to enter the ticket somewhere. So a lot of this work happens in the shadows where the support people just aren't tracking the work they're doing. And this is no fault of them, it's just hard. So without visibility, how does that team load balance and make sure they're passing issues? Second, as I already hinted at, is visibility. As a manager, how do I know when all the tickets are being worked on? That help desk command feeds directly into a Jira service management queue. And the rest of the tickets are coming into the channel in the thread. So how do I know what the entire state of all the issues is? It's really hard to get a complete picture without additional technology. And finally, metrics. If you've tried to do any support in Slack, you know it can be a bit difficult to see how many tickets you got in a day. So we needed a way to capture all of our work so we can measure to see not only how the team was performing, but how much work they actually had to make sure we were scaling the business correctly as we were growing. So to solve these problems, we brought Halp into the mix. There's some prerequisites for some success I want to mention. First, those Slack conventions we had already had in place set us up for success out of the gate. And we also had a very complete Jira service management project. They just weren't connected. Halp's that glue that helps those two pieces fit together. And it's very easy to set up. All we had to do was add Halp to Slack. And if you just go to halp.com, there's that convenient add to Slack button. We had to add Halp to our private triage channel. This is a private channel that the agents will actually sit in to do their work. You connect Halp to a Jira service management project using a very easy to understand online form. You can even map custom fields in this form if you have any data you'd like to capture about the work that you'd like your agents to fill in. You can create forms and recipes, but honestly, you can just add that Halp bot to your public channel and you're ready to go. Not a lot of extra configurations needed. We got it up and running for our first demo in under 5 minutes. So what I'd like to do right now is show you a bit of Halp in action so you can see what's possible when you have Halp in the mix. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a test workspace. You can see a couple messages here, but I'm going to do this live. And the perennial IT problem, I can't connect to the wireless. Not a lot of help in that ticket, but let's see what we can do here. I'm going to add this ticket reactee. And I want to mention that this is configurable. In our production environment, we have over a dozen specific ticket reactees for each Jira service management project that we're hoping people interact with. When I open the thread, you can see a couple things have happened. Halp has posted a threaded message with the Jira ticket in it, and it's also sent a convenient message to tell someone what to expect from Halp and from the agents. Simultaneously, you might have noticed this triage Halp channel lit up. This is the private triage channel I had mentioned earlier. So if you dive into this channel, you can see a little more detail for the agents. An agent can click into this ticket and get directly taken to the Jira project to see the ticket, or they can edit the ticket directly in the channel. So they don't actually have to context switch. They can do all their work in Slack. There's a couple other buttons here, and this is very configurable, but the key is this. So I've entered the triage Halp thread, and I'm going to say it might be 2F. So we're going to say it might be the second floor that's down. So I'm going to go back to the public channel, and you can see right here this message that's been duplicated in the public thread. And most importantly, the Halp bot is masquerading as me. It's copied my generic profile picture, but if you had an actual headshot in here or your Slack profile picture, it would mirror it, and it's copied my name. So it's not as though your workforce is interacting with a faceless bot. Your workforce is actually still interacting with your employees. The bot's just masquerading as them. Simultaneously, it's posted this message to the Jira ticket that was already open. So if I go ahead and refresh this page, you'll see that the Jira message is right here. I can also go ahead and add an internal note. Earlier today. This is information I might not want to share with the end user. So if I go back to Slack, you'll see that in this public thread, nothing happened. But if I go back to that private thread and open the threaded messages, you'll see that the message was posted with a lock icon. The lock icon will alert the agent that this was actually a private message. And that convention is bidirectional. If I open the channel again, or if I respond with a lock command, that'll only post in the Jira ticket. It won't post here in the public thread. So if I go back to that Jira ticket, you'll see, and if I refresh again, you'll see that message has shown up. Cool, and that is still an internal note. So I am just scratching the surface of what's possible when you use Halp with Slack and Jira. It's very configurable. You can go pretty deep and make specific automations for different reactions, and you can add on Jira automations to get some rather complicated workflows in place. Now that you've seen Halp in action, I want to show you what it's done for us now that we've put it in place at Slack. First up, it was extremely easy for us to train people on how to use it. We were able to roll it out to our support team by just showing them the product in action. We literally just showed them, hey, use this React-G. It's going to open these threads. You can talk in here or in Jira, and they got it. They didn't need any additional training to that. For all of our employees that were looking for services, we didn't even tell them we were rolling out Halp. We just dropped it into our existing workflows. And because our strong conventions were already in place, they adapted to it naturally. They really liked having all of their communications handled in thread, and they liked the DMs. Secondly, 100% engagement. Now I was confident that all of our tickets were going through Halp. It was a transformation because before we were never really sure if people were being alerted properly. But now that we knew all of our tickets that were going through Halp, I was confident that everything was being worked on and everyone was being notified about progress on their tickets. And lastly, metrics. Because all the tickets were finally being entered into Jira Service Management reliably, I had solid metrics showing not only ticket volume, but time to first response, also showing time to resolution, the important metrics that shape service desk performance. Once other teams saw Halp in place, they wanted in on the action. So over the past year, we've been expanding to other departments. Now all biz tech units are using Halp and Jira. So our identity team, our client platform engineers, everyone is taking their tickets in using Halp and responding to them using Halp and Jira. It's been revolutionary because now all the work is visible on Slack. We've even expanded into some other non-IT teams, like our people ops teams and our legal teams. These have been more challenging because these teams have some privacy requirements that IT generally doesn't have to worry about. So in the case of people ops, what we've done is made a private Jira project for them with very strict permissions. And when we put Halp in place, Halp doesn't do the threading in the public messages. All adding the reaction does is start a DM with the user. It's a very fast way for our people ops team to open new tickets, and they can still be confident everyone's getting DM'd in their threads and the data is private. There's no way for an IT administrator to accidentally browse into confidential HR data when it's set up correctly. So now that you've seen what we've done here at Slack, you've seen where we started, you saw how we rolled out Halp to assist and all of our employees get support, and you're seeing how we're able to expand this to other use cases. I hope this is exciting to you. If you're using Slack and Jira Service Management, I want to encourage you to go to halp.com and try out the product. It takes about 5 minutes to configure, and you can start improving your employee services today. Thank you.